Hey guys, how's it going? This is Max again from Natural Bodybuilding and Nutrition Q&A, and today you caught me in my kitchen having some homemade cookies. And today's topic is gonna be about weightlifting belts. So without further ado, let's roll the intro and begin with the video. Hey guys, so just like I mentioned before, today we're gonna talk about weightlifting belts. So I'm going to try to cover as many aspects related to weightlifting belts as I possibly can. How to put a belt on, what you need it for, when you need it and when you don't, pros and cons, and also shapes, materials, form factors, and locking mechanisms. So first of all, I would like to start mentioning why you shouldn't use a weightlifting belt. And this is when you are a very beginner and when you're not lifting really heavy weights, or when you don't have any sort of back injury, or you don't have any problem at all. I know that weightlifting belts look cool and help you and give support and all that stuff, but honestly, if you don't need it, if you don't have any back problems, if you're not gonna go for real heavy weights, then don't use it. It's gonna look stupid and it's probably going to make you hurt yourself. To me, weightlifting belts are kind of a double-edged sword. They can help you in a way, but also if you use them incorrectly, they can really hurt you. So unless you are some sort of intermediate lifter or an advanced lifter, or you are into PRs such as in powerlifting, then you probably don't need it. Now, when you actually need it, you need it if you have any sort of injury in your lumbar area and you need support, and you also need it if you're going to hit PRs, which in bodybuilding are actually not that necessary. If your thing is bodybuilding, probably you won't need a weightlifting belt unless you have an injury. For powerlifters, the situation is different because they need to hit numbers, they need to hit PRs. So for them, support is really necessary and it's a plus. So let's grab my belt just to use it as an example. This is a typical weightlifting belt. I bought it from a reputable seller online, and this is a leather belt. Now let's talk about materials. Belts can come in different materials. They can come in fabric, nylon, leather, and many others. I personally prefer leather just because I believe it's a little bit stronger. I think it's a little bit sturdy, so it just gives me more confidence that this thing is going to support my back when I lift heavy. Other belts are also built of nylon or other kinds of fabrics, and they also have the advantage of being able to adjust more to your body. It depends on everyone. You feel if you feel nylon more comfortable, if you feel leather more comfortable, it's up to you. Also, there is a lining inside. It can be rubbery, it can be foamy, it can be fabric. It also depends on what you feel comfortable with. Now let's talk about the locking mechanism. Some weightlifting belts, such as the leather ones, are gonna come with a buckle, which is more than okay, but the buckle has a small problem, which is that you're mostly limited to these holes. Now, if you have to use an intermediate hole, then you have to get a driller and drill a hole in the middle. That's exactly what I did with this one. Now, my waist got actually smaller from last year, so I'm actually using the last one, and probably I'm gonna have to drill a new one because this thing is getting looser. So the buckle is one of the locking mechanisms that there are, but actually there are three main locking mechanisms. And the best one is not this one. The best one is actually the clamp. Why? The clamp is mostly used for powerlifting belts, and this is because the clamp is more versatile. It can adjust much better to your waist than the buckle or the third one, which is the Velcro. To be honest with you guys, the more the belt adjusts to you, the better. If you have to adjust to the belt, then it's not such a good belt. So number one locking mechanism, the clamp, because it's more versatile and it will adjust better to your waist. Number two, it's the buckle. It's not exactly the best one, but you can always drill another hole and it will fit you better. And the third one is the Velcro, which is, to me, the most dangerous one, because the Velcro is the one that can actually rip apart in the middle of your exercise and can really screw you. So guys, try to avoid the Velcro, always, please. Another thing that I want to talk about is the size. Now, this is one of the medium-sized belts. I have a pretty small waist for a man, so I try to use a medium one. They are so smaller, they're bigger. Try to be as smart as you possibly can and use one that fits you. If you can possibly try it on before buying it, then better. And remember that the belt goes in the line between your rib cage and the waist bone. It's not a typical belt that you would use with a suit. It goes a little upper. The easiest way to know where it goes is basically to use your belly button as a guideline. So this belt has to cover your belly button. I'm gonna show you later how to put this on and you will see. Another thing that we should talk about is the form factor of the belts. See how this belt particularly is wider in the middle and smaller on the sides. So there are many types of belts. This is mostly a bodybuilding belt. Now there are powerlifting belts, which are basically the same size all over the belt. It depends on the exercise and the sport you're doing, what kind of belt you're gonna need. If you do powerlifting, then you probably need support all around your waistline, not just for your lower back. So a belt that is the same size all over the belt is gonna be more suitable for you. Now I particularly have this belt because I do feel the lumbar support on this, and I actually need it. So let's talk about a little bit about the pros and cons of using a belt. I mostly use the belt only for exercises that affect my lower back. I didn't have an injury in my lower back before, but I did some heavy weights for deadlifts and some squats, which forced me to actually need to go for a belt. And if it weren't for this belt, my current injury would be much worse. So what is the belt designed for? The belt is mostly designed for support, okay? It's going to be a support for your lower back area. It's gonna help you lift that one PR. It's gonna help you maybe do that heavy weight that you're too afraid to do because you don't know if you have the strength in your core to actually pull it out. But remember, don't put all your confidence in the belt. Your confidence must be in yourself, not the belt. Just like I mentioned before, a belt can be a double-edged sword. Please, only use it if you really need to. Remember that the belt gives you support to your core muscles, so you don't have to use them so much to lift whatever you have to lift. But if you have it on all the time, then you're not going to use your core muscles. Then you will make them weaker and you will make them less trustworthy when you have to do any kind of exercise. So basically, if you use it too much, your core muscles, your abdominal muscles are going to get weaker. And the weaker they are, the more prone to injuries you are. But on the bright side, if you use it correctly, then it's gonna help you reach weights that you couldn't do before, and it's gonna give you more confidence that you can pull weights that you couldn't before. Just because you don't have to worry that much about your lower back, and you can concentrate on your exercise. For today's video, I'm also gonna show you how to put a belt on and what you should feel, where you should place it, and let's get on it. So I'm gonna just take my jacket off and show you guys how it's done. So my belt is right here, just like I told you before. Yeah, I don't look great, sorry, but this is what I got. One thing I do all the time just to avoid wearing my belt all the time, because sometimes you forget that you have your belt on. So when I carry it around, I don't carry it around my waist, just as a precaution, just as a way to realize that I don't have to use it all the time, because I want my core muscles to be strong. I'm just relying on this because I have an injury and I am trying to recover from it. And I'm only using this belt in those particular exercises that are more dangerous to me for my lower back. So this is the way I basically carry my belt all the time. So I just adjust it there. I know that I look like a Spartan or a dork. I don't know, I don't care. Honestly, I find this very comfortable. I take this everywhere and I don't have to have that belt here all the time. So let's go basically to a point where you're gonna wear it. So like I mentioned before, you don't want to wear your belt in your waistline just like you would wear a typical dress belt. You wouldn't wear it too high. You just want to wear it on the belly button, just like this. So when you put it on, make sure that if it's not all the same size, make sure that the wide side is exactly on your lumbar area in your back, in your lower back, like this. And when you're going to put this on, there's a little trick that you should know. So this is supposed to go tight, all right? But not as tight as you can breathe. Now, it's supposed to go tight in a way that you can feel the support, that you can feel that you basically can move your lower back much, but it's enough so you can, I don't know, pick a weight from the floor to do a deadlift, for example. So the trick is just pull this as far as you possibly can, tucking your stomach in, and then just look, you can see from the side, just adjust it. Now lock it here, it's in. One thing that you have to know, a small trick to know if you place it correctly. First of all, your last rib must be over the belt, and the bone from your waistline must be below it. This has to touch basically all flesh, no bone. Second trick, you can't have a deep breath with this thing on. I can't take a deep breath right now, and this is a good thing. It doesn't have to cut your breath, all right? You need to breathe, but you don't need to breathe deeply. That's a small trick I have to know if I have placed it correctly. Why? Because the belt has to help you increase the pressure and the support in all this area. And if you actually let it too loose, this is what's going to happen. Let's put it too loose. And if it's too loose, then you have a lot of space here, and you have to compensate that space with your own guts. And you have to breathe in, and you have to push your guts against this belt, and it's not going to give you the support you need. So tuck your stomach in as much as you possibly can, and just let the belt do the trick. And the third thing that I tend to use is I put my index finger in between the space of the belt and my belly, and it just has to barely fit. It's not something that I have to just make a lot of effort to put it in, or something has to go really loose. I just have to try to put my finger right there, and it has to fit, not too tight, not too loose. It just has to fit. Just one finger. Those are the three tricks that I have to know the belt is placed correctly. So it should look like this. Like this from the side, and like this from the back. And of course, please, this is something very, very important. Like I said before, don't wear the belt all the time. So once you've finished your set, just take it off. or if you don't want to take it off because you have to do 3 more sets, then just make it loose and wear it loose until your next set. This is because you need to recover, you need to breathe. And also, there's a particular con in weightlifting belts that we're going to talk about in the next video, which are hernias. A weightlifting belt is going to make you more prone to hernias in a way that your internal organs are going to push even harder towards the areas that are not covered by the belt. Let me show you again what happens. So I wear the belt just like this, really tight, and if you see on the sides, this part of our stomach is trying to stick out. The same thing happens with this area of the stomach. So the part that is protected by the belt is not going to have any organs trying to push out, but organs are going to try to find a way outside to push, and it's going to be basically in your inguinal area and the upper area of your abdominal wall. So if you wear it all the time for every exercise, then you increase your chances of having hernias a lot. So try to wear it only when you have to. There's a little fourth trick to know if your belt is actually placed correctly, and it is basically try to move, if you have to do, let's say, a deadlift, try to move and see if the belt moves upwards or downwards. If your belt moves, then it's too loose. If your belt doesn't move, then great. Now, if you can't just go down to make the lift, if you really can't bend enough to reach the barbell, then it's too tight. That's a trick that you can possibly use when you're going to do a deadlift, and that's a good way to know if your belt is actually too loose or too tight. So guys, I hope you learned something today. The weightlifting belt is a great tool to make progress and help you in a lot of exercises, especially if you have injuries or kinds of problems. But it's also a double-edged sword, so please only use it when you know that you have to. Don't overuse it, don't overdo it. And just like always, if you have any comments or questions, please leave in the comment section below. If you like the video, hit that like button. And if you want to get notifications from new videos, please touch the little bell down there, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Hey guys, it's me again. So I just wanted to talk to you for a second about the video uploading schedule. I don't particularly have one. I just upload videos and make them whenever I possibly can. I love doing this. I learned a lot from it, and I want to keep learning from it. And since I'm just a regular guy, I have a day job, I have a life to live, and I'm trying to adjust to this as much as I possibly can. So I'll try to make at least one video a week, maybe a video every 2 weeks. That depends on my own schedule, my personal life, depends on my family, and depends also on my job and many other factors. But I try to stick to the topics that you mentioned or your doubts. Of course, you can always talk to me directly and send me a message, or just comment here, or in on social media. If you check the description below, you will have links towards my Instagram, this channel's Instagram, and Facebook, and whatever, so you can contact me and ask me questions directly, and if it's worth making a video about it, then I will make one. So that's all I want to tell you guys, and I guess I'll see you next time. Bye.